Hello everyone, welcome back to our biology class. Today we are going to learn about pollination. What are the two types of pollination and what are the agents which helps in pollination and the characteristic features of insect pollinating flowers, wind pollinating flowers and water pollinating flowers. All these points we can discuss through this video lesson. Are you ready? Let's start our lesson. First, we can learn about pollination or what is pollination. This is the transfer of pollen from stamen to stigma. Actually, pollination is the process of transferring pollen grain from stamen to stigma. Pollen grains are transferred or carried by insects, wind, or water to another flower. So, insects, wind, water, all these are the various agents which helps in pollination. What is pollination? Pollination means the transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of a flower. So that transferring process we can call as pollination. Next we can learn what are the two types of pollination. There are two types of pollination we can see in a flower. They are first cell pollination and second one is cross pollination. So these are the two types of pollination which we can see in a flower. Okay, one by one we can learn. First we can learn about cell pollination. Self-pollination means the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of either the same or genetically similar flower. During self-pollination, pollen grains will transfer from where to where? From the anther to the stigma of either the same flower or genetically similar flower. Genetically similar flower means they are same in genus. Okay, so such a type of pollination we can call as self pollination. Accordingly, self pollination is of two types. They are autogamy and geitonogamy. These are the two types of self pollination. One by one we can learn. Next we can learn about autogamy. Autogamy is a type of self-pollination where pollen grains are transferred from the anther to stigma of the same flower. It always occurs in bisexual flowers. Actually, what is autogamy? It is a type of self-pollination where pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. It always occurs in which type of flowers? Bisexual flowers. What is bisexual flowers? The flowers which having both the stamen and carpel. Okay, male and female parts are present in the same flower. We can call it as bisexual flowers. Okay. For autogamy, it is essential that both anthers and stigma mature at the same time. In the case of autogamy, what is essential? Anther and stigma should mature at the same time. Then only what is possible? Self-pollination is possible. Autogamy is achieved by following method. So, by three methods, what can take place? This autogamy can take place or it is achieved by three methods. First method we can learn as homogamy. First one is homogamy. In homogamy, the flowers are aerial and open in nature. Like normal flower, in homogamous flowers are always aerial. They are aerially located and open in nature. What is the meaning of open in nature? Stamen and carpel, that is male and female parts are exposed to the air. Okay, they are visible outside. The stamens and stigma of flower mature at the same time and brought closer by growth, bending or folding. In this homogamous flower, stamen and stigma mature at the same time and they are coming very close to each other by the following process, by growth or by bending or by folding. By this way they come closer to each other and it helps in the self-pollination. It occurs in potatoes, rice, wheat and pea. Okay, in these following flowers what we can see, this homogamy or homogamy is taking place. Next we can learn about cleistogamy and chasmogamy. First we can learn about cleistogamy or characteristic features of that cleistogamous flowers. Cleistogamous flowers remain close throughout their life and they are underground flowers. In them only self-pollination occurs because anthers mature and liberate pollen in closed flowers. These flowers are very small, inconspicuous, colorless, odorless and without nectar because they need not attract insects for pollination. Actually, what is cleistogamous flowers? They are underground flowers and they remain closed throughout their life. What remain closed here? Anther and stigma remain closed inside the petal. Means petal will close all these parts. What are the parts? Male and female parts. Okay, closed by the petals of these flowers. Okay, in them only what is possible then? Self-pollination is only possible in such a flowers. And also anthers mature and liberate pollen in closed flowers. Okay, during the growth period what will mature? Anther will mature and liberate pollen grains where into that closed flowers. Like this way what will take place? Pollination will take place. Okay, and what are the other characters of this flower? They are very small in size, inconspicuous means not clearly visible, colorless not having particular color, odorless means not having particular smell, and without nectar means these flowers never produce nectar. What is nectar? Honey like substance we can call it as nectar. It is produced from the nectary of the flower. Okay, because they need not attract insect for pollination. Why these flowers are not producing these type of devices? Because in these flowers which type of pollination only take place? Self-pollination only taking place. That's why they do not want all these devices. Okay, listen, this is cleistogamous flower. Okay, they are remain closed throughout their life. Okay, they are underground flowers. Okay, not having particular color, not producing smell. Okay, not producing honey or nectar. All these are the characteristic features of what? Cleistogamous flowers. Because in these flowers which type of pollination take place? Self pollination only taking place. Is it clear? Next we can learn about chasmogamous flowers. Chasmogamous flowers are aerial flowers. They are located in the air which open like normal flowers. Like normal flower, these flowers are also open in nature. What is the meaning of open? Means stamen and stigma are exposed to the air. Okay, they are open type. They are not closed inside the petals. These flowers later become clistogamous for what? In order to ensure fruit formation. For ensuring fruit formation, this chasmogamous flower later will become into clistogamous flower. Okay, they are larger in size, brightly colored. What is the size of these flowers? They are larger in size. Next, brightly colored means having nice color. Okay, and scented. They are producing scent also. In them, both the self-pollination and cross-pollination occurs. So these are the nature of chasmogamous flowers. Okay. So first homogamy, clistogamy and chasmogamy, all these are the three methods occur where in autogamy. What is autogamy? It is a type of self-pollination. This autogamy take place by the three methods. What are they? Homogamy, clistogamy and chasmogamy. Listen, this is the chasmogamy flower. Okay. Later it will become clistogamy for ensuring the fruit formation. And they are large in size and brightly colored petals are present and producing scent also. Okay. Next we can learn about geitonogamy. Geitonogamy is a type of self-pollination in which pollen grains of one flower are transferred to the stigma of another flower belonging to the same plant or genetically similar plant. Such a pollination we can call as geitonogamy. During geitonogamy, what will happen? The pollen grains of one flower will transfer to the stigma of another flower belonging either the same plant or genetically similar plant. Okay, such a pollination we can call as geitonogamy. In geitonogamy, the flowers often show modifications similar to ones found in xenogamy or cross pollination. Actually, in geitonogamy, the flowers will show some modification. Modification means certain changes in the case of that flower. Okay, so that modification will be similar in the case of cross-pollinating flowers. That means when we compare that modification with the cross-pollinating flowers, they are similar in nature. Okay. Next we can learn about cross-pollination. Otherwise we can call it as xenogamy or allogamy. Cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of genetically different flower. Such a pollination we can call it as cross-pollination or xenogamy or allogamy. Listen, in cross-pollination, what is happening? Pollen grains will transfer from where? From the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower. They are genetically different in nature. Okay, such a pollination we can call as cross-pollination or xenogamy. Cross-pollination is performed with the help of an external agency only. For the cross-pollination, certain agents are required. Then only what is possible? Cross-pollination take place in a flower. Okay. Next we can learn what are the agencies which helps in cross-pollination. Agencies of pollination. There are two agencies which helps in cross-pollination. First one is abiotic agencies. Second one is biotic agencies. What is abiotic agencies? Means the non-living agencies which help in pollination we can call as abiotic agencies. They are wind, water. Wind pollination we can call as anemophily, whereas water pollination we can call as hydrophily. Biotic agency means the living agencies which helps in cross pollination we can call as biotic agencies. First one is insects. Insect pollination we can call as entomophily. Birds pollination we can call as ornithophily. Next, bats pollination we can call as chiropterophily. Next, snails pollination we can call as malacophily. Ants pollination we can call as myrmecophily. Snakes pollination we can call as ophiophily. In all these cases, these biotic agencies and non-biotic or abiotic agencies helps in cross-pollination. Is it clear? Next we can learn about anemophily. What is anemophily? Means the pollination which take place by the help of wind we can call as anemophily. Example, coconut, palm, date palm, maize, many grasses and cannabis. In all these plants, which type of pollination take place? Wind pollination is only possible. Okay. Next we can learn what are the characteristic features of anemophilous flowers. First one, the flowers are colorless, not having particular color, odorless, not having particular smell, and nectarless, means they are not producing honey-like substance. Okay. Second character, pollen grains are light in weight, small in size, and winged, means having wing-like structure, or dusty, dry, smooth. Non-sticky. Non-sticky means it will not stick with the other substances. And unwettable. Unwettable means the pollen grains will not absorb water, or water cannot enter inside the pollen grain. That state we can call as unwettable state. Okay. Stigma is hairy in nature. Means stigma look like hair, feathery. It look like feathers, or branched in nature. It look like a branched structure to catch the wind-borne pollen grains. Means wind only carrying that pollen grains. For catching that pollen grains, stigma having all these characteristic features. Okay. Next, pollen grains are produced in very large number. In anemophilous flowers, we can see large number of pollen grains. Okay. That are the characters of anemophilous flowers. Is it clear? Next we can learn hydrophily. What is hydrophily? Means the pollination which take place by the help of water is known as hydrophily. Next we can example Zoostera, Vallisneria. In these flowers, which type of pollination take place? Water pollination or hydrophily take place. Okay. Characteristic features of this hydrophilous flowers. First character, flowers are small and inconspicuous. Means in this plant we can see very small flowers and inconspicuous. It is not clearly visible also. Nectar and odor are absent. It will not produce nectar, means honey-like substance, as well as it will not produce any scent or smell. Okay. Pollen grains are light in weight and unwettable due to the presence of mucilage cover. Actually, pollen grains are light in weight, so it can easily float on the surface of water, as well as unwettable. It will not absorb water, okay, because a mucilaginous covering is there on the pollen grains, so water will not enter inside the pollen grains. Stigma is long in nature and sticky also, so it can stick with the pollen grain very easily, okay, but unwettable. Unwettable, already I told, the stigma will not absorb water because of that mucilaginous cover, okay. So these are the natures of stigma. Is it clear? Next we can learn entomophily. What is entomophily? The pollination which take place by the help of insects like moth, butterflies, wasps, bees, beetles, etc. Such a pollination we can call as entomophily. Next we can learn what are the characteristic features of entomophilous flowers. First character, they are showy or brightly colored. These flowers having colorful petals, so they are showy in nature. Most insect pollinated flowers have a landing platform. So if you observe the insect pollinating flowers, you can see a landing platform on it for landing insect, okay. Next, the pollen grains are spiny in nature, means it has spines, heavy, very heavy in nature, and surrounded by a yellow colored oily sticky substance that we can call as pollen kit. So pollen kits are present in the pollen grains, okay, and they are spiny in nature and heavy also. Stigma are often inserted and sticky, means always stigma can grow more than the length of anther, and they are sticky in nature. It can stick with any substance, especially it can stick with the pollen easily. Next, some flowers provide safe place to insects for laying eggs. So some insect pollinating flowers provide some place for what? For laying eggs. To whom? To insects. So all these are the characteristic features of entomophilous flowers. It is entomophily, the pollination which take place by the help of insects, we can call as entomophily. Is it clear? Next we can learn what are the advantages of self-pollination and cross-pollination. First we can learn what are the advantages of self-pollination. Self-pollination maintains the parental characters or purity of the race. Always self-pollination will maintain parental characters or purity of the race indefinitely. Second point, self-pollination is used to maintain pure lines for hybridization experiment. Self-pollination we can use to maintain new variety for hybridization experiment. Then third point, the plant does not need to produce large number of pollen grains. Those flowers are pollinated by self-pollination, does not need to produce large number of pollen grains. Lastly, flowers do not develop devices for attracting insect pollinators. Those flowers are doing self-pollination do not develop devices such as nectary, colorful petals, scent, etc. for attracting insect pollinators. So these are the advantages of self-pollination. Once again, it maintains the parental characters or purity of the race. Second, self-pollination is used to maintain pure line for hybridization experiment. Next, the plant does not need to produce large number of pollen grains. Last, flowers do not develop devices for attracting insect pollinators. Okay, all these are the points regarding advantages of self-pollination. Next, we can learn advantages of cross-pollination. Cross-pollination introduces genetic recombinations and hence variations in the progeny. During cross-pollination, genetic recombination, that means intermixing of genes, will take place and hence variations in the progeny. Means the small difference which we can see among the individual we can call it as variation. So by cross pollination we can bring variation in the progeny by recombination of genes. Next, cross pollination increases adaptability of the offspring towards changes in the environment. The offspring formed by the cross pollination have the capacity to adjust the various environmental changes. Next, it makes the organisms better fitted in the struggle for existence. Those organisms produced by cross-pollination have capacity to struggle for their existence. Next, last, the plant produced through cross-pollination are more resistant to disease. The offspring produced by the cross-pollination have the capacity to resist the diseases. So all these are the advantages of cross-pollination. I hope all of you understood the points which I explained through this video. If you have any doubt regarding this topic, you can put comments in comment box. I will come with a new video in the next session. Till then, bye. Thank you.